That's how you know we're going to have a good time. And I would like to welcome everybody to another episode of Leaders Inspire Leaders. And today we have an amazing guest. Today we have a guest that I really feel is going to blow your socks off. And her name is Dr. Roshawnna Novellus. And a little bit about her. So she is a wealth and mindfulness multiplier, business strategist and author of Budgeting is More Liberation Than Limitation. She uses smarter financial decisions, mindfulness, compassion, entrepreneurship, and fitness to create a fabulous life. At her financial firm, she provides high-level financial guidance and business strategy planning to businesses. Her brand, The Wealthy Yogi, provides books, workshops, yoga classes, mindfulness retreats, and easy advice to individuals seeking intentional personal success. So I have given the leaders out there a quick snapshot, but in the next few minutes, in its purest form, how would you describe yourself and what you do?
I help people show that they can solve their own wishes, so they can grant their dreams. They can make their dreams come true. And I do this by combining both financial strategy and mindfulness training. Because once you're in a centered place, you're able to know what your priorities are and you're able to effectively make decisions to reach your goals.
I think that's so great. And I love that you said in a centered place. I know when I started my business, a lot of it was really coming from a place of unknowing and jumping into something that I had no clue about. I really wasn't sure what I was going to do, but I knew what I was doing was not it was just something about it. I was like, yeah, this isn't it. It doesn't feel right. I'm anxious. I'm not motivated. I've lost passion. And to now come from a place of being centered, how do you get an individual back to center or back to self, so to speak?
Well, I like to lead people through either meditation practices or fitness. So I love teaching yoga, but whatever fitness brings you to that place, whether it's running or walking or just anything fun, where your goal is just to breathe appropriately and just to enjoy the present moment. After you're in that place of mindfulness, then you can say, hey, this is what's important to me. And you're able to do that from a place where anxiety doesn't cloud your judgment.
So you now even brought this down to breathing appropriately. Yes. Okay, so how should an individual breathe?
Deeply.
Okay.
Slowly, right? So you breathe. And even one breath like that feels awesome, right?
Yeah. Okay, so it's about oxygenating.
Oxygenating your body.
Yeah.
And when you breathe slowly, your heartbeat decreases. You're just more in peace and more in alignment. And when you're focused on your breath, you have nothing else to do but be in the present moment. And you're enjoying every single particle of air, right? You're not thinking about your to-do list or what happened yesterday. And when you do that, you're able to clear out all the noise. So clear out all the noise and then proceed.
So clear out all the noise and enjoy every single particle of air.
Yes.
Right? Okay. So before we even go down this amazing journey that we are going to go down together, what really inspired you to start your business?
Well, I was inspired because when I was working in corporate America, I had a lot of coworkers who would come to ask me to help them either allocate money toward their 401k. I used to go with a lot of my friends to closing when they purchased their first home. And I would just advise them on how to make simple financial decisions in their lives. And then when I moved to Atlanta, I said, let me figure out how I'm going to volunteer. So I ended up volunteering with the Atlanta Community Food Bank, who was partnered with the IRS to do this volunteer income tax assistance program. So I used to help people not only with their taxes, but with just basic financial literacy. And I just loved it to no end. And I said, well, anything that I would do for free, maybe something that I should go in business doing. And I decided, hey, let me try this out and go from there.
Okay, so you were the money friend.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, are you good at negotiating and haggling? Is that why you went with people to go buy cars?
I'm really good at negotiating.
Okay.
And people don't see that coming because I come at it from a person with a big smile on my face and I'm
Yeah.
really nice about it. But yeah, so I would go into the closing when people purchase their homes and say, hey, do you want to make this deal? I mean, you spent all this money to get here. And do you really want to walk away based on this little thing like leaves in the house, or, you know, the lawn wasn't cut or something like that? And usually people are like, you're right. I'm just going to sign the papers. So I had a track record of doing this and helping people through the stressful part of, you know, buying up their home. And so a lot of my friends started asking me to just go with them to make sure that they left their room happy and on their most favorable terms. And even last week, I was at an angel investor event where there was a group of people who represented entrepreneurs of a startup, and I was representing the investors who wanted to invest in the startup, and they appointed me as negotiator. And I got the lowest valuation from any other person or group that participated in the event.
Wow.
How did you do that? You're so good. And it doesn't seem like, you know, you would be hardcore, but you're like, do it in another way that's very nice and welcoming at the same time. So yes.
So you're saying if anyone is negotiating, you do not want to be sitting across the table from you. You want you on their side.
Exactly. But this is if they didn't watch, you know, this interview, because they know this information going.
Well, I'm so happy that, you know, we can squeeze out these nuggets. So individuals who are listening, this is not the person that you want to be negotiating against.
Right.
Do not negotiate against Dr. Roshawnna Novellus. That's not who you want to negotiate against. Okay. Okay. Now, we were talking about wealth, right? And of course, that is in your bio. And I think wealth is something that eludes a lot of people. So for the listeners out there, what is one of the biggest misconceptions about wealth?
Well, a lot of people think you have to already have it. So they feel like unless they have all this money in their bank account now, that they will never be able to get there. So they just abandon all of the rules and even any kind of creating any pathway to get there. But all you have to do is start. You know, we all heard that as long as you start with like $25 a paycheck or $50 a month, over time, that money will increase. And that's just true. So all you have to do is start today. You don't have to look at the total amount and freak yourself out and psych yourself out of even trying. All you do is start and it grows. But beyond just saving, you have to be strategic on how you allocate your money. So do you have any appreciable assets, right? Do you actually, are you in any alternatives, right? So you have to be proactive about looking at your wealth so that you can reach your goals.
Okay. So now I feel like you're starting to go into financial words, and I want to make sure understand exactly what's going on, because an appreciable asset, obviously that's something that is going to be growing in value. But can you give us some examples of appreciable assets, something that is going to appreciate?
For instance, real estate,
Okay.
art potentially, business, investing in small businesses. There are many things that can increase in value. And so even though you need to save a lot and also, of course, invest in the stock market, that also appreciates, but that's different than an asset. But you should also have some monies into other kinds of vehicles that can also appreciate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So as millennials, a lot of us, we love instant gratification.
Love it.
And because we love instant gratification, of course, I'm going to have to ask you, how do I quickly build wealth? Okay, you started talking about saving and $25 here and $50 here, and okay, that's great. But what if I want to like quickly build something? Maybe I wanted to go on a vacation, and I've got a vacation that's happening in the summer, and I need to quickly put some money away to go on that vacation. What are 2 tips, 3 tips that you can give us to start building that so that we can go on that vacation?
So first of all, know how much the vacation costs and know how many months you have into that vacation. So you divide the total. So you know how much per month you need to save. Then look at your expenses. So do you actually need to spend all that money in the way that you're doing now? So eliminate whatever is wasteful immediately. And then if necessary, pick up some extra work. So if you're good at web design and your friends are always asking you to help them with their website, you might need to charge them a little bit, or, dog walking, babysitting, what have you. But you can pick up some extra money so that you can save enough for that vacation. So you need to know how much you need, and then how the length of time, and then figure out a pathway to get there. So a lot of people don't figure all that stuff out, and then they won't, go. But if you really want to go, then you'll make changes in your life to get there.
There we go. There we go. So leaders, I really want you to listen to that. And notice I picked a vacation because that's something that is very tangible to us, and is something that's a bit smaller. But if you're looking to conquer something big, essentially take these steps, rinse and repeat. If it's a car, if it's a home, if it's even something bigger, if it's getting engaged, right? These are things that in these steps and these techniques can be transferable to all of these different things. So make sure that you're listening and you are applying these particular things to all of the financial goals that you have set out for your life. So you were talking, of course, about fitness, and that's in your bio. You know what I mean? We see that you're obviously a pretty fit woman. You love yoga, and you even have the moniker of the Wealthy Yogi. So why is fitness so important?
Well, fitness energizes your whole body. It's beyond just looking good, but it's feeling good and being happy and being.
So it's not just looking good.
It's not just looking good. It's also about feeling.
This whole time, the whole time I had it wrong. I thought it was just about looking good.
No, it's being good on the inside,
Okay.
right? So taking care of your body makes you more efficient and makes you a better decision maker overall. Also, fitness reduces stress. It, decreases the likelihood of depression, and it just, makes your day better. So don't you want to start off on the right foot?
I mean,
start off ahead of the
okay.
game.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Start off ahead.
Of course you do.
Take care of yourself. Taking care of yourself is number one priority, right?
Okay. So you just said fitness makes you a better decision maker. How does it make you a better decision maker?
Because it calms you down. It decreases anxiety. It makes you mindful. So when you're running, you're typically, especially if you're running fast, you're thinking about your breath. You're thinking about your breath. Keep going, keep going. You're not thinking about other things. So there's this whole group of people who just do running meditation because it puts you in the present moment, right? And so when you're done, you can say, hey, this is important. This is what I want. It's not a long list.
Running meditation. I like that.
So there are many different ways. There's not just one way, right? And yoga is beyond the physical practice that we practice here in the West. Yoga is, meditation and just being in the present and being grateful and being kind to yourself.
Okay.
Yourself, especially yourself and others. So keeping all of that in alignment will help you make the right decisions for you.
Okay, so running meditation. Now, whenever we talk about running meditation, what do you mean? Is it just focusing on running? Is that what you mean by running meditation?
Focusing on your breath. So
okay.
Focusing on every inhale and exhale. And I do that a lot because I have asthma. So I really have to monitor how I breathe anyway. So it's kind of natural for me to monitor how I'm breathing. And when you just focus on your breath, that brings you to the present moment. So in meditation, the goal is to be in the present. So a lot of people talk about breath, but you can listen to sounds, like the sounds that are outside right now. So if that's birds chirping, people laughing, water, all of that is going on right now. It's not a daydream. It's not a memory. It's actually happening, right? So if you pay attention to what's actually happening, you can push away all of that noise, all of our thoughting that we do, so that you can go ahead when it's time to think again and create your strategic plans and focus on what actually matters. So it's like a reset button, a reset, and then go back to your strategy and then knock it out and proceed. Yep.
Hitting the reset button, hitting the reset button and staying in the present. Okay. So mindfulness multiplier.
Yes.
What is that? What does that mean?
So it's basically what we just discussed.
Okay.
So I help people find their mindfulness in many different ways. So like I said, the physical fitness, the meditation, and I have a whole bunch of other exercises that I do with people to get them to where they need to go. And once you multiply your mindset, because most people, they're in the present moment like only a fraction of their day. Most people are walking around in a daydream all day long. So even if 5 minutes every hour, you're paying attention. Like when you wash your hands, are you actually looking at the water and the soap? Or are you daydreaming about something else? Right? So there's simple things that you can start with when you're brushing your teeth. Are you paying attention to every tooth and the toothpaste and all of that? Or are you thinking about something else? So there's simple ways to just start saying, hey, every time I do this activity, I'm going to be in the present moment, that help you tremendously.
Yeah, I mean, it's super scary to say, but I'm okay with saying it. I think there's sometimes I'm in a daydream when I'm driving. Right? I'm just
Right.
kind of driving. I'm not even really paying attention to what's going on. It sounds super scary. I end up, of course, getting to where I need to go, and I'm not in accidents or anything like that. But my mind is not focused on driving per se. My mind is not focused on foot hit gas pedal, foot hit brake,
Right.
hand hit turn signal, right? That's just not that's not what's happening. So you're saying as a mindfulness multiplier, it's now focusing on those moments where you would normally just allow gosh, I can't even think of the word, but you would essentially normally allow what this normal and routine activity is, and you would now fall back into the present moment and actually embrace the things that are currently going on.
Right. And that also applies to doing your work. So if you say you're going to sit down for 30 minutes and figure out a strategy for, say, your social media, like do not think about other things. Just focus on that for the whole 30 minutes. And a lot of times you're surprised about how many ideas you get when you're not distracted. So the premise is like focus on what you're doing and do that to the best of your ability. And the result, and be happy about it, right? This is all part of the karma yoga philosophy, but then you tend to work out better. It tends to give you a better solution, and just try that as much as possible.
That actually reminds me of a technique called the Pomodoro Technique. And for you all out there listening, it's Pomo, Doro, Doro, Pomodoro Technique. And it focuses in on giving 25 minutes and taking whatever task that you have to do and chunking it out into 25-minute increments.
Yep.
And after that 25 minutes, giving yourself a 5-minute break and then going back into another 25 minutes. And I believe it's after you complete maybe about 4 or 5. Generally for me, it's about 6 Pomodoros. Then you take a longer break where it's about 15 or 20 minutes. And then you can come back to doing Pomodoros. But it's one thing that I've noticed is as soon as I truly focus in on what I want to do, for that 25 minutes, I realized that I get so much more done than, being the quote unquote great multitasker.
Right. And that you're being in the present moment, right?
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
know what you're focusing on and you're giving it all your attention. And that's amazing. So a lot of people think that being in the present moment means you're not actually doing anything. And that's not the case. That's where a starting point to just sit still. But it's another level to do that while you're doing work or strategy or actually talking to people or reading.
Yeah.
But you can do it. You can.
Okay. I love that. I love that. Now I really want to switch gears to the book.
Okay.
Because budgeting is something that I thought was, I don't know, like a hindrance. It's something that I was like, this is kind of a nuisance. But you say that budgeting is more liberation than limitation. So explain a little bit about the book, and then why do you feel it's actually liberating as opposed to limiting?
Let me tell you a story. I have a close friend who received her MBA and didn't believe in having debt. She took out a lot of debt for her MBA and wanted to figure out a way to pay it off. And so she decided to join the Navy, which is not a traditional path after you finish your MBA. But she said, Roshawnna, it only will take me 3 years to pay it all the debt off. I only have to be in the Navy 4 years, and then I won't ever have to worry about this again. And she did that. And a lot of people were confused because that's not a traditional story, but she knew what was important to her and the kind of life that she wanted to lead. So now she's out in the real world, the corporate world again, with debt free. And she only had to, she did this in a little under, 4 years. And a lot of us need to figure out what is actually important to us. When we know what's important to us and the kind of life and lifestyle we want to have, it's easy to be able to dictate how your money should be allocated, right? Like, you don't work for your money works for you. You need to have a conversation with your money and say, hey, this is where I want you to be. This is where I want you to go. So I'll tell you one other thing. 2 years ago, I decided to go to Thailand to receive my yoga teacher certification.
Okay.
And when I researched Thailand, first of all, Thailand is way more inexpensive than the States. So it was actually cheaper for me to live there than to be in the US. So I came up with my budget. I'm like, I'll save money by going away. And so when you know where you want to be and the things that make you happy and what make your heart sing, you're able to figure out the money situation and actually live and actualize your dreams. So it gives you the freedom to actualize and live your dreams, essentially.
Got it. Which is extremely liberating, extremely freeing for you to be able to live out your dreams, all of those things that you've got up in that mind of yours and all of those places that you want to see. Budgeting can actually give you that liberation and that freedom to finally visualize and live out those dreams. Okay, makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. So I would love for you to go with me in the time machine, okay?
Okay.
And we are going to go back in time and we are going to speak to a younger Roshawnna. And if we were to speak to a younger you, what would be a piece of advice that you would say?
Don't second guess yourself as much. You know what you want to do and know what you like, and just go with it. I would tell myself to live my own life and not the life of anybody else. Yeah.
There we go. So we're staying in the time machine, but this time you have no business anymore.
Okay.
You still have, of course, all of the knowledge that you have, and you have $100 in your pocket. What is the first thing that you would do to create a business?
Create a business? I would actually invest in an existing business that I knew would grow. So do I have the same knowledge that I have now? Yes, I would invest in a high growth business so that by the age now I'll be a billionaire. Yep.
Investing in high growth businesses. Okay, so because you said that, it now begs the question: how do you find high growth businesses to invest in?
So you do your research, and of course, there's no guaranteed way, because if there was, all of us would be billionaires. But what you can do is either work with an investment group, work with a financial advisor, read publications and whatnot. But I suggest, if you really like a company and its technology. I remember when I first saw the first iPod, how amazing that was. And I was in grad school, and people were stopped class to look at this. I was like, what is this? What is this technology? So if anything makes your heart sing, it might be something worthwhile investing in, but you also need to look at the underlying financials. So start with the things that you like, the companies that you love and support. You should try to have ownership in as many businesses like that as possible.
High businesses leverage that money. Talk to those dollars. As Dr. Roshawnna was speaking about a little earlier. So we are about to jump into the audience round, and I like to call this the hot seat. And we do have a couple questions from the audience, and we are just looking for very, very quick tips or advice on the questions that we have. So you ready?
Yes.
All right. First question. How do I start building wealth?
Start investing today. So get a mutual fund and invest in it.
Okay. Next question. And this is a two-part question. Is a monthly budget important? And how do I create one?
So it is important. Start by tracking your expenses for 3 months and then average those out and then create your budget. But if you have non-traditional incomes, such as if you're in TV or film or an entrepreneur, you might need a longer time period than a month, than 3 months to figure that out.
There we go. There we go. So I know we are getting close to the end of the show, but before we jump into the last question, I would like to give you an opportunity to express what you're passionate about right now and how the leaders can get in touch with you.
So I am passionate about telling people and showing them that they can live the life that they desire through mindfulness and strategic financial management. You can find me at thewealthyyogi.com for any workshops, retreats, online courses, or books. And then you can also find me at Novellus Financial for business consulting and strategic planning. You can locate me anywhere online at The Wealthy Yogi. So, yeah.
Perfect.
Also get my book, Budgeting is More Liberation Than Limitation, from my website.
Okay. Is that on Amazon as well, or just the
It's
website?
also on Amazon and on Audible and every other platform.
Perfect. So now that we are in, or I should say at the end of the interview, I always like to end the interview with a piece of parting advice for the leaders of tomorrow. So what would that piece of parting advice be?
You are worth it. You are worth it to live the life that you desire. So go out there and just do it.
You are worth it.
Yeah.
There you have it, leaders. So head on over to leadersinspireleaders.com notes and Dr. Roshawnna's contact information. Remember, the highest form of leadership is inspiring other leaders. So be inspiring and stay inspired. Dr. Roshawnna, thank you so much for joining me and inspiring the leaders of tomorrow.
Thank you for having me.